Hello, you Savvy Star vs. fans, and give a warm welcome to the beginning of the Tom Star Massacre. This episode was something that a lot of people were looking forward to for approximately 4 years now. So without further ado, let's get straight into the analysis because you bet your bottom dollar that there are things to mention. From the start of the episode, as it turns out, the ones getting married were Full Duke and Ruba Riot. Glad they cleared that up. Should have known that these two just had a secret thing going on between each other. It's also funny to see the monkey again after some time just dancing around in the background. Guess Full Duke really did find her monkey. During this moment, Star also mentions how Ponyhead wasn't able to be there for the wedding. And that's because this takes place during the same time Ponyhead visits St. Olga's and has a battle against Meteora. And that is why towards the end of this episode, Star is seen dropping her phone and panicking to help Ponyhead. This later transitions into the next episode, Pam UI Petit, which, by the way, it's animated, doesn't look like a serious episode. Usually if the boldness of the animation is a bit thinner and the frames are less noticeably rigged rather than an even more traditionally animated episode, occasionally there's to be a fight scene or a serious moment. I have studied well, my viewers. So that way, if the episode isn't as important, then they save money by chunking down the animation a bit. Season 3's Ponymonium is a perfect example, but there have been serious moments from Season 3 where it was still not animated as well as Toffee, for example. Take a look at this scene from Toffee versus this. You're welcome. Now back to the analysis. Now Star notices a photo booth for the wedding and wants to take Marco in there to take pictures the way they used to be like back in Season 1. And maybe she was trying to simply do her best and have fun with him again, but even so, Tom wanted his pie. Well, why didn't she just stop him and force him inside? Marco was clearly with Kelly the entire time, and Tom why? So Marco is once again wearing the suit he wore in Bon Bon the Birthday Clown. That's quite interesting. Get it? Because he kissed Jackie wearing the same exact suit, and now in this episode he kisses Star. And continuity. And as to no absolute surprise, he's just as weirded out as ever. I think after Star clearly trying to stay away from having feelings for Marco again since earlier in the season, he's probably not only confused but definitely heartbroken, and this face says everything. I mean, the poor guy even says he didn't want to take the pictures. And do you want to know what Star does? She takes the money out of his jacket, $650, and manages to use up all of it because Marco isn't legitimately smiling. The machine finally stops working after multiple attempts and later reveals a tiny worker that exits out of the photo booth. And fun fact is, if you've already noticed that this guy sounds like Old Man McGucket from Gravity Falls, obviously it's because it's the man himself, Alex Hirsch.
Well, I'd like to, but I can't. It's broken. Gonna have to take it back to my shop for repairs.
Wait, what's happening? Where are you taking us? No.
The worker explains that the machine has malfunctioned and so it has to be taken to his repair shop, or at least so he says. And most importantly, it can only be fixed if Star and Marco take photos that show their true feelings, or at least that's the gist of it. And this is the part where Star begins to realize that Marco isn't the same person from before. This was a photo taken previous to the awkward confession Star had made at the end of Season 2. He confesses this and explains that this was the reasoning behind why their adventures haven't been the same, neither has their relationship. They then proceed to move on to try the booth one more time in order to finally make their escape, only things turn into a completely different direction that people may not have seen coming. Yep, it finally happened, and though Marco doesn't seem as confident, and Star seems just as surprised, can we talk about this pose for a second here? Why are her hands just resting underneath Marco's arms? You mean to tell me you didn't just push him away or simply keep your arms down if you were in so much shock? And this is an analysis video. I am going down this road, okay? I am not the only one who was thinking that. But anyways, Star freaks out and mentions how Marco is her squire and that she has Tom as a boyfriend. And I'm sure that if she really cared for Tom, her sentencing structure would have been reversed, but maybe he was second on the list because... Yeah, I have no idea. It's funny how Marco tries to blame the photo booth because it's magic. Obviously still denying his true feelings towards Star. But it's also not only significant to mention not only was the booth worker lying and saying that the booth was magic, but notice how the Blood Moon soundtrack is playing in the background. The worker finally sends them back to the wedding and things don't necessarily stop there. Marco's sanity seems to be intact, but Star on the other hand looks completely blacked out. Maybe she's still confused. First, she confessed to Marco and now all of a sudden he's showing affection towards her the next season. Oh, and Tom's a horrible boyfriend for not only abandoning Star all this time for Pi, but doesn't even question her about anything after all that. I had mentioned in the beginning of the analysis about Star answering her phone and how it's about Ponyhead after the Meteora incident, so we all know about that. But there are still two huge major points that I need to include within the video. I would like to first give credit to this viewer. This person emailed me about a particular moment within this scene that happens. It happens only when Star touches the photo, and here it is. So did you see it? Let me slow it down right here. Both Star and Marco's cheeks are seen glowing. Of course, Star's are hearts, but then there's Marco with his moons again from the episode Deep Dive. Usually this only glows when someone is dipping down or performing a powerful spell, but I believe that they are glowing to show just how intertwined their souls really are. And then there's the obvious blood moon itself before the episode abruptly ends. Now, as for the moon marks that Marco has alongside with how Star's family have cheek marks, I believe that this happens to anyone that handles with the wand. This would explain why Festivia later on in life obtains her cheek marks and passes it down through the birth of the second butterfly family tree. Marco was able to handle the wand simply because of the genes now inheriting in his own body after the Blood Moon spell, or at least that's what I personally believe. Let me know what you all think in the comments below. I also feel it necessary to mention that Star and Marco truly do have feeling towards each other even without the whole Blood Moon ball spell. Tons of people have hinted and witnessed Star and Marco's relationship and have admitted that they're the perfect soulmates. That just about does it for this analysis. I hope the next episode, Pam U Petit, is gonna be a good one. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it is actually gonna be an important episode. And if it is gonna be an important episode, I doubt it's gonna be as significant as the last episode we just had, which is Schooled. And as for the episode Tough Love, oh boy, almost anything can happen in that episode. Maybe it has something to do with Tom and Star and Marco, the entire love triangle, who knows. Alright, and now without further ado, that is the end of my video. Thank you all for your support, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace!